came out.
Oh, you finally had it, huh?
Yeah.
You autograph it?
Yeah, well, I'm going to autograph one for you and for our major donors, and then we'll have a book signing and the whole bit.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go. Jerry's going to do announcements.
Good Shabbos, everyone. And welcome to Congregation Near to Meet. My name is Jerry Gordon. I'm president of the Board of Trustees of Congregation Near to Meet. And usually we do announcements either at the beginning or at the end, but I prefer not to do announcements. I kind of like to do messages. Announcements just doesn't sound correct. So with that, just a few announcements. First, C&T is in need of wind, horn, and string musicians to join the 24th season of the Shabbatones, 24 years of the Shabbatones. Auditions will be held in late July, and please contact Cantor Hutchings for more information. Again, wind, horn, and string musicians. C&T's preschool and religious school are enrolling for the fall. Contact the office for more information or go to the website. In fact, for every item I'm mentioning, you can go to the website. Family Promise of Las Vegas Family Navigation Center invites you to attend its official groundbreaking ceremony on Thursday, June 15th. Again, for information and RSVP, go to the website. And I think Rabbi Axelrod will be commenting more on that item. And finally, CNT's annual meeting takes place on Tuesday, June 20th in our social hall at 7 p.m. Obviously, all members are not only welcome, but requested to attend, to witness, to hear about what's happened in the past year, what we're going to do in the coming year, and the installation of our new Board of Trustees. And that will be the night that I give up the presidency after 3 years, and someone else will take it. And in fact, because of my calendar, this will be the last Friday night I will be giving messages / announcements. So with that, good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos, everyone. I'm back. What's this? I stand on the beam, and the first thing I hear is Jerry says, I'm no longer going to be president. What is this? Jerry, is it something I said, something I did? We need you. All right, we'll figure out another project. We owe a lot of gratitude. This was his second go at being president, and we have accomplished a lot. So please fill out your proxies, because if we don't have a quorum, Jerry just keep being president forever. I'm sorry. That's in the bylaws in the small print. That's right, yeah. We'll look at it. So, Cantor, we've seen each other, twice in the last 3.5 months? Maybe once. I know, it was so slow, I heard, while I was gone, nothing happened. Please, what's a little holiday like Purim or Passover or confirmation and all those funerals and weddings? But other than that, I think it was kind of slow for you.
I was really bored.
Yeah, you were really bored.
Yeah. I just did vanilla services every single week.
That was it. Nothing happened.
No drum circles.
Nothing.
No rainbows. Nothing.
I know. Some people are just slackers, What are you going to do? But in all seriousness, I've put it in writing. I've told her to her face, but I'm going to tell everyone here how much we are all indebted and grateful to Cantor Hutchings for coming forward, doing more than two people's jobs during a very busy time in her personal life and the life of the congregation.
It was my honor, a much-deserved rabbatical. That's a rabbi sabbatical.
That's right.
And now I'm going to be taking a concoratical. I don't even know.
I don't know.
Try to say it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
get out of town. Where are you going to go now?
I'm going to be gone for, it feels like a long time. I'm going to Israel on Sunday. So one of you already gave me your notes. There's little notes that you'll have at the oneg, little pieces of paper if you want to write notes for Hakotel, for the wall, prayers to God. I will deliver them for you. I'll be going for 12 days, and then I'll be back for a few, and then I go...
Listen, I have an itinerary you can follow after
I'm
Israel.
good.
We can just kind of follow what I did for the last few months.
That's great. And then I'm going to be hiking the Rocky Mountains for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society with my sister. So we'll have some ways to help if you want to be part of that. And
well, how would they help? What could people do?
They can donate to our team.
How are they going to do that?
I was supposed to have a QR code for them tonight,
But since
I'll
you
have
don't,
it for you next week.
Tell them how to do it. They can go on the Facebook, can't they?
Yeah, you can go on my Facebook page. It's on there. And then also in the June bulletin, we put the QR code for you and the link if you would like to give to it. So look for that. It'll be in your mailbox if it's not already. And then I have the Cantors Conference. So that's exciting in San Diego.
I'm telling you, some people, they just don't want to work. It's like, I come back. She goes to Israel. The Cantors climbs a mountain. What is this? What is this? Well, that's great. Well, it's good to see everyone. It's good to come back for Simchas, to have a baby naming and a bat mitzvah, and just to welcome him. How many of you from out of town? Out of town? Oh, a few. All right, how about bat mitzvahs? Bat mitzvah people. Great. How about baby naming people? How about crossover for both?
How about people who didn't come while I was by myself?
Oh, Rabbi Schwab, welcome. I didn't see you. Great, great. My colleague is here. Thank you for being here. And Reverend Dahl and Janelle, thank you for being here to welcome our neighbors at the church down the street. So it's good to see familiar faces and new faces and to gather people from many, many different states. So let's get started. What do you think for an opening song, a little bit of a medley, Hine Matov?
Yeah, how good it is to be together in this room with everyone and with our rabbi back. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 One more time, hine matov. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, hine matov. Ya la 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 la. Hine matov, hine matov. Ya la 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 la. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Well, we call forward Adina and the Polis family to have the mitzvah of kindling the Shabbat lights in honor of her bat mitzvah tomorrow.
Her matriarch. So we have Alyssa, we have Mary, we have Lottie, we have Kylie.
Come on up, page 120, 121.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
We continue on page 124. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves.
Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak. Let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer.
We continue on page 138 as we welcome the Sabbath bride, L'chadodi.
Yalla l'chadodi, yalla likrat kala, yalla penei Shabbat nekabe, yalla l'chadodi.
Verse 9, we rise to greet the Shabbat bride.
Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha, ub'tzola, toch emunei, am segula.
We continue with the Chatzi Kaddish 144. Please join with the Dina.
Yitkada v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah be'alma divrach rute ve'amlich malhute b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayedecho be'Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imeru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevora Le'olam Olam Me'omaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Dekudasha B'rechu Le'olam Min Kol Birhata V'shirata Tushbehata b'ne'emata ta'amim bam be'alma v'imeru. Amen. Please rise for the Barahu. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Oh, let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence.
For this is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the borders of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? For this is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
Baruch atah Adonai, Hamari v'Ravi.
As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malehuto Le'olam Vaed. Hear Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated. We continue with Ve'ahavta on page 154. Yeah. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levacha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meotecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha bishinontam levanecha b'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'vitecha uvlevtecha v'derech uvshapbecha uvkumecha ushartam leot al yadecha v'chayu letotafot b'neinecha uvtavtam amizuzot beitecha ufi sharecha leman tiskeru vasitem et komitzvotai v'atem kedoshim leloehem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeitietem me'eretz Mitzrayim leot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet.
So we just chanted and read a prayer about love. It's the same prayer that is found in the mezuzah that talks about the importance of loving God and talking about God when we go on our way, when we rise up, and when we lie down. And the reason we do that is to infuse our families with a sense of godliness and an attachment and a love of God to our children. So how appropriate it is now? Are we good? All right, we're going to have a baby naming because she can't be called Ishkabibble any longer. Emma Ray was born June 27th of last year, and her parents, Melissa and Ryan, are here to bring her before the ark that she might get her Hebrew name. It will be Plea Vered. Plea is a name like wonderfulness, wonder of God, and Vered means rose. And she's being named for her paternal great-grandfather, Polly, who was strong, all about family, and very loving, and he loved Las Vegas. So she'll always be a Vegas girl, even if she doesn't live here. And she's also being named for her maternal great-grandmother, Rose, who also was very loving. And she was there to raise Melissa and her sister and watch them grow up, and we think about her. And apparently, she was a great cook of Italian food. So no pressure there, Emma, but your great-grandmother's recipes are going to be passed down to you, and we expect some good spaghetti and lasagna, okay? So go ahead and come on up. The congregation, please rise as we welcome Melissa and Ryan to bring Emma before the ark. Well, what a pleasure it is to come back to a baby naming. For a baby represents not only new life, but new hope, the continuity of tradition. Melissa, as you know, I watched you grow up practically in the backyard of my house, as you and CJ were swimming and enjoying life, and then to officiate at your wedding, and now to welcome this little one into your lives and into all of our hearts. She is going to be well-loved and well-cherished. And so we ask God's blessings upon her and upon you as her parents, that God will bless you with wisdom and patience, with an ability to see the strengths in your daughters that may or may not be your strengths, but that you know in your hearts that you are giving of yourselves to ensure that her life is one that is wonderful and is filled with a garden of hope and of peace and of love. As she is surrounded tonight by family who love her and care about her, may she go through life knowing that she is cherished for who she is. We bestow upon her officially now the Hebrew name of Pelia Vered Bat Devorah Elka. May that name be cherished in the household of Israel as a person of greatness, great hope, and love. And we bless you now with these words. May the Lord God bless you and keep you. May the Lord God cause the light of his countenance to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord God grant you long life, happiness, and peace always. Amen, amen. And Mazel Tov.
Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, yehelanu, 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 olecho Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, olecho Yisrael. Mazel tov. See you at your bat mitzvah. Speaking of miracles, there was another miracle other than making a beautiful baby when we crossed the Red Sea. Page 158, Michamocha.
Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, nor adilot,
Oh, say fele, nor adilot, oh, say fele,
malechotecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, zeli anu ve'amaru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar ki far Adonai et Yaakov u'gelo mi'ad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
So Cantor has prepared a favorite song, but most appropriate today because this month is Pride Month. Judaism teaches that we are all made b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God, deserving of dignity and just treatment, and it is our responsibility to ensure that we live up to that ideal. We have a special prayer that was written by the Reform movement, Makor HaChaim, source of life. You have blessed each of us with your spirit. In your wisdom, you have made each of us a unique treasure. Mayan Chayenu, wellspring of our lives, cause us to flow with courage, strength, and compassion, to live our stories openly, proudly, and joyfully.
Page 161 and 160.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu Hashkiveinu Leshalom Ve'amidenu Shomreinu Lechayim Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu Hashkiveinu Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We turn to our Amidah prayers beginning on page 164.
Ufia gitehilatecha Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu Bimotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, Bizoher Hasdei, Avot V'Maot, Umevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Lemon Shemo Be'ava, Melech Ozer, Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol, Atah Ra'av Le'Oshia, Morid Hagtal, Mechaykel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei Hakol Berahamim Varim, Tomech Nofli, Rohei Holim, Umatzir Aserim, Umechayei Umatzo, Ushnei Afar, Nihamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umido Melon, Malek Mimit, Umechayei, Umatzmi Yeshua, V'lemamot Hayot Hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei Hakol. kol.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue in silent devotion through page 180, using the words on the right or the left side of the page, or the words within your heart. When you have completed your prayers, please be seated.
So we take a few moments for our Mishaberic prayer. Those of you who are watching online, if you want to submit names at this time. We think, first of all, of those whose names have been submitted to the temple office: Kim Botwin, Beth Molaski, Donna Zale, Adela Cash, AJ McInerney, Lori Fletcher, Elaine Reininger. And as I look to the congregation, if you'd like to say the name of someone special to you for a prayer of hope and healing, simply say their names as my eyes meet yours. Simply say the names. Just say the names, please. Thank you.
Kenneth Shore, Justin Andres Acosta.
So as we think of all these and so many others who are part of our circle, whose names are said and echo in our hearts, we join together in our Mishaberic prayer for hope and healing and strength.
Mishaberic avotenu mekor habracha leibotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say amen.
It's okay to put your arms around people next to you.
Mishaberic imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah a renewal of spirit, and let us say, oh, Amen.
Good Shabbos, everyone. It's good to be back home again. Missed everyone here. I hope you missed me too. I know things got a little confusing. I got a text message from one of the congregants that said, Cantor, I want to share something with you. The rabbi! No, I didn't get voice lessons, but I did have a chance to travel a bit. You know, traveling's good. You go away and you come back. You go to explore, to find adventure, relax, whatever the case. But if you are fortunate, as I think I have been, there's a compass that always points towards home, your anchor. And if you lose sight of that, you are adrift, which is easier to have happen than one might think. You might think you are home, but be adrift. You might be traveling and be home. It's important for all of us to find our place in life and to understand the meaning of home. But yes, it was a good, fun, meaningful, restful, and emotional 3.5 months. My wife Joni and I went exploring, and as it turned out, a wonderful way to celebrate our 40 years of marriage as well. Not bad, huh? So even when I delivered the sermon and I used the I, sometimes we could substitute the word we, because we had the sabbatical, really. I mean, if she put up with me all these years in congregational life and seminary, she needed a sabbatical as much as I did. So when people see me for the first time, after, since coming back, I usually get 2 questions. The first is, where did you go? And the second question is, what was the favorite place you visited? To the first question, there were the physical places that I visited, and there were a lot. I planned this trip for 8 years, all right? So mid-February, we went to Israel for a couple weeks. Then we went to London for a couple weeks. On the way back, why not? We stopped in Iceland. We came here, caught our breath, and then Joni didn't quite want to go on this first cruise. It was the Caribbean, where I was a chaplain on board a cruise ship, and my sister Lisa went with me. And then we made our way together to a cruise to Alaska. And then we peppered it with little short trips to San Diego, Los Angeles, and the Bay Area. We were running away, and we were running to, and we were in a little tornado of travel, and it was wonderful. Those were the physical places that we went. But as I mulled over the meaning of my sabbatical, I also wanted to travel within. And it wasn't as easy as I thought to find time to focus on self, to reflect on who I am, what I've done, what I want to accomplish in the years to come. It wasn't always easy to be present and not let myself be distracted by matters at home or work. But those moments did happen, and one of the things that I'm proudest to share with you is I was able to finally publish my book. So do you remember a little thing called COVID? Yeah? Well, during COVID, I started writing essays. What started as one essay ultimately became over 100 essays. And everyone kept telling me you should put them into a book and put them into books. And I thought that was going to be so easy. I had written the essays, we just slam them together, an instant book. No, it was quite a bit of work. So the name of the book is called Love in the Time of Corona. And sometime in the near future, we will have an official book signing. But if you really, really want the book, it is available on Amazon. And I think if you look at that, you will see the journey we all took from the start of COVID and the feelings of fear that we had, the journey towards faith, the importance of standing strong together, wearing those masks that look, we're almost done with them, please God, and everything in between. And these essays, I think, will resonate. So please find those. So that was one of the things I really wanted to accomplish. But to the second question, which was, what was the favorite place that I visited? I can perhaps cherry pick a few from each of the places, as our trips were pretty varied. I mean, we were in the Middle East, and then by the end of that month, we wound up at -7 in Iceland. Try to pack for that, folks. So some of these will find their ways, these insights and wisdoms will find their way in other sermons in the weeks to come. But real briefly, in Israel, which I've been to probably I found out I've been traveling to Israel for 50 years. So I've been about 25 times to Israel. And as you know, I'm an ardent Israel supporter and lover, and sometimes it's very hard to, quote, criticize Israel. And so I'm really reluctant that it could be misconstrued. But there I was with about 130 colleagues. And something so challenging was happening in Israel with the Judicial Reform Act that I had to, by the luck of God, I was there. So I got to join my voice, not as an Israeli, but by a Jew who owns this part of the sacred land. So me and 200,000 of my closest Jewish friends attended a demonstration in Tel Aviv, which, as sure you all know, had been going on week after week after week until other matters took precedent, like the budget, and now I'm sure they're starting back up again, reaching the level of 500,000 Israelis in protest. So I was there, and when I think of sacred moments in Israel, sure, I've put notes in the wall, I've been to museums, I've taken this congregation there numerous times, made my way into the Dead Sea. But never have I been there to add my voice and saying, this place is so special to me. It's not that I don't want you to change, I just don't want you to lose your direction, your way, your heart and soul. And so I felt compelled to raise my voice. And that was a moment in Israel I will never forget. Off we went to London. Many, many things to remember in London that were fun. But Jewishly, one in particular. And it's appropriate that I talk about it right now, because we have the small Torah, which we affectionately refer to as the Polis Torah, because Jerry and Lottie were able to obtain that Holocaust Torah when the congregation was first starting out. And I had a chance to visit the place of origin, if you will. In London, in the Westminster Synagogue, there's a museum called the Kent House. And the Kent House was established after World War II in 1964 when a man named Eric Osterich found out that in Prague there were all these scrolls that had been collected from around Europe, and they were just basically in a warehouse in Czechoslovakia. And he had the foresight to say, hey, these scrolls need to be saved. And of course, the synagogues that they came from had been destroyed. He managed to raise funds, bring them over to London, and a new trust was formed. And these scrolls, not all of them, because as I saw, there's probably about 500 that are in such disrepair, they're just there. But about 1,500 of them were dispersed for life throughout the world. And we happen to have one in our congregation, which we affectionately call the Polis Torah. And it represents the endurance and strength of our people and the history of this congregation. Now, Iceland, what was a favorite spot? Probably a warm bed, considering it was -7. Then I go to, the next big trip was the Caribbean. And how many of you have been on that in a cruise? Quite a number. It was never on my bucket list, but because I managed to find this way to be a chaplain on a cruise ship, to lead a Passover Seder where people probably spoke 6 different languages, and I really relied upon those South American Jews who really, they have that flavor for music and singing. We had an international Seder, and I had to communicate with the staff that Jews do not drink salt water on Passover because they gave me 6 2-quart pitcher of salt water for when we dip the parsley in the salt water. For Shabbat services, we had a minyan, if we count the 2 Messianic Jews who showed up, and out of 12 people, 3 spoke English. So I think I can deliver that sermon again. What do you think? But one of the highlights was when we visited the island of Carousel. And Carousel is home to Mikveh Israel Emmanuel Synagogue, and it is the oldest surviving synagogue in the Americas. How many of you have been there? I bet you there's a few who have been there. And if you've been there, you know that the floor is made of sand. That is one of the cool things. So a little thing called the Spanish Inquisition happened, and the Jews of Spain and Portugal were forced to flee, and they made their way to the Netherlands. And when the Dutch West India Company began exploiting the resources of the Americas, the Jews said, hey, that's a place we should go to. And so they made their way to this island, and the Jews started coming in 1650, and by the mid-1700s, the synagogue was born, and it's been in continuous existence. And in fact, while I was there, they were having a rabbi search committee. And he had to know not only English, but a little bit of Portuguese and Spanish as well. But I think they found their candidate. And as soon as he heard that I was a rabbi, oh my God, his eyes lit up. It was like, finally, a Jew on this island. And he had the whole history of the island and that synagogue. And he was only on an interview for the job, which I'm sure he's going to get. Another highlight was when we did take that Alaskan cruise. You know I have a little bit of a fear of heights. And so one of my bucket lists was to go up on a helicopter. And guess what? It wasn't that bad. It was pretty good. Who here has been on a helicopter? Yeah, a lot of you. Do you agree with me? It wasn't that bad? Yeah, well, unless it's really windy, then it's bad. But thankfully it wasn't. So we fly up and we go and we land on a glacier, and that was just a cool thing to look all around and see the majesty of the world. So part of this whole travel was just, when you look at the Middle East, and you look at London, you look at Iceland, you look at Alaska, just the diversity of the world and the friendliness of people and the hospitality that they can show you. And so often we just pick up the newspaper and we see all the bad news, and everybody's shooting, everyone's killing, everyone's divided. So try traveling a bit. Just try to see how other people see the world. See the world through their eyes, through their culture, and realizing that it's not just the way we see it is the only way. And when you do that, your eyes will be open to the world in a very, very different way. Now, God talked to me when we were in London and said, put away your cell phone. And it was very hard to do. It's a blessing and a curse because you keep looking at your email, you keep looking at Facebook, you look at all these things. So 3 days before we leave London, my phone literally stopped working. That was it. So there I was, Friday morning, and we're leaving on Monday afternoon. So what am I going to do? There's my life. I got all my photos. I got all my apps. My world is there. Even what flight am I on? Everything is on that phone. So I call around, and I found a guy who, for a small fee, promised me he would get that phone fixed. So I had a little bit of freedom and a little bit of worry. But guess what? That phone got fixed, and I made my way. But sometimes it's not easy to be present, even when you're traveling, to just be in that moment. And I'm not saying, quote, do nothing, but to just be there and not somewhere else. That's one of those life lessons, I think, of a sabbatical. And so I think if there's anything we talk about life lessons that all I learned on sabbatical, it's about the importance of a good plan and the importance of going with the flow. It's important to close your eyes and take in the world, and it's important to see the world with your eyes wide open. It's important to realize that there is enough love in your heart to add new people and new experiences to it. It's important to renew the love that you have and not take it for granted, even after 40 years, that we could find things to do and talk about and to embrace. It's important to miss people that you care about, because otherwise you don't realize how much each one of you is a part of my life. And the last thing is, well, you know who a dear friend is. They're the ones who, after a trip, are willing to look at your photos and hear your stories. So you saw some of my photos on Facebook, and tonight you listened to some of my stories. More to come. But thank you for being my friend, my congregation, and my community. It's good to be back. Shabbat Shalom. All right, we continue with the Aleinu 586. Would the congregation please rise?
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
If you're watching us on the live stream, Shabbat Shalom again. Please submit names of those you are thinking of who are no longer with us for Kaddish or Yortzeit.
598 is our Kaddish prayer. So we say Kaddish for Lauren Savage, Ellen Greenspan, Myrene Aschenbach, Lee Talent, Gordon Basikas, Mildred Phillips, Donald Joseph Haggerty, Joyce Levitt, Robert McDonald, Dick Hyman. Think of the Yortzeits of my grandma, Lena Axelrod, David Blumenfeld, Ashley Martin Brown, Faye Collin, T.J. Kuhn, Robert Deacon, William Fine, Milton Freed, Rose Goldberg, Julia Graber, Barbara Greenspun, Victor Harbour, Annie Holden, Marion Keller, Emma Kestenbaum, Irene Miller, Lenora Newman, Lou Pomerantz, Shana Rosenberg, Mickey Rufberg, Ben Shaffrin, Etta Scheld, Howard Watman, Thelma Weidenfeld, and Jesse Weil. Jesse Wheel. We have names from the congregation, please.
Mildred Phillips, Marty Reingold, Ann Elliott, Gilly Chen, Safta Blanca.
As we think of these and others who touched our hearts, we rise, 598, to say our Kaddish prayer. We join together, Yit Kadal, Yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, B'Alma Divrach, Hirutei, V'Yamlich Malchutei, B'Chaychon, V'Yomechon, V'Chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, B'Agalav Izman Kariv, Yimru Amen, Yeheshmei Rabbah Mevorach, Le'olam Omei Almaya, Yit Barach, V'Yishtabach, V'Yit Ba'ar, V'Yit Ramam, V'Yit Naseh, V'Yit Hadar, V'Yit Taleh, V'Yit Talal, Shemei Dekusha, B'Richu, Leila min kol berchata v'shirata, tush v'chata v'nechemata, damiram b'yama v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mramav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Please be seated. Well, tonight's Oneg is sponsored by the Polis and Toffel families, and I understand it is really delicious and good, so please make sure right after services to stick around and make your way into the social hall. But before we do the blessings over the challah and wine, are there any locals here who are visiting the synagogue perhaps for the first time? Any locals? None? All out of 10?
For the first time, really?
For the first, second time? Anyone want to introduce themselves? No. All
How
right.
about new-ish?
New-ish.
Newish and Jewish.
No? Newish and Jewish. Look, what we scared them away while I was gone? That's it.
I mean, I see new-ish faces. So if you see someone that you don't really know or you haven't seen in a long time, please be audaciously hospitable to them and show them what a wonderful congregation Ner Tamid is.
That's right. Cantor.
I haven't seen you in a long time.
All right. Well, great. So let's do the Kiddush and Motzi. So our bat mitzvah, come on up. Baby naming family,
Trish
come on.
Starr for
Come on.
our beautiful challah. It really feels like a throwback. We have the Toffel baby naming. We have Trish Starr challah. It's like a COVID reunion. If you know, you know. Is this a new challah cover? It's very pretty. Oh, thank you. From Israel. Thank you for Israeli cousins. Good batch, Trish. It's good. So we close with an Osei Shalom that comes from Israel by Nava Tehillah. Another reminder, there's little scraps of paper that will be at the Oneg with pencils. If you would like to write a note and roll it up small like this, I will collect them at the end of the Oneg or whenever you see me and pass it along. I promise not to look. It's between you and God, and I will deliver it to the cracks of the Kotel in Jerusalem in the next few days when I arrive. This is a beautiful mitzvah. This is a beautiful opportunity for you to connect with God in a different way, and I would be honored to do it, so feel free.
Osei shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru,
Shabbat Shalom. The oneg looks like it's out on the patio. I see a Baskin Robbins. I think this is going to be amazing. Enjoy yourselves.